Morning. That's it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 skids, 3 skids, and then there's 4 in here, and that's it for this job. We are done. I've got everything out of the back. I'm waiting on a truck, and I got to go back and clean some stuff up with the dozer. But we're gone. But no, what I wanted to do was a quick video on how I, get my hardwood grade logs, like how I look at them, because it's hard. A video doesn't really do it justice. There's a couple people that are, not always certain about cutting, bucking logs up. So I'll just go through and show you what I do. For like this first, obviously the first thing, if you're selling your logs, first things first, you could be cutting logs and selling them, or you could be cutting logs for your own mill. So that's going to gauge on how you buck things up. It's all in what you're looking for. But obviously when you're selling logs, you want the longest, best grade, logs, straightest logs. You want to get the most footage, high dollar footage, the highest dollar footage. I said that wrong. So let's look at this cherry. We'll do this one real quick. You can see there's a seam there. At one time there was a limb here that grew over. So obviously it's sound on the end. I'm gonna come up here. I'll pop a 10 out of this, because that'll be a 3-sided log. Okay, so knock a 10 out of it. We could knock way longer, but let's just take a 10, get that defect, put it in one log, and then if I can, I'll measure. I should be able to go 16 on the next one. All right, and that's a clean, clear face, nothing wrong with it. That's a good log. Let's look at the maple up here. Now maple, soft maple, will get what they call worm in it. So that's the first thing we got to look at. This one, see, this is worm. All right, since it's only in one face of the log, that's still good enough to send for grade. Even if it's big like this, I'll send it in the grade pile, because they'll cut it in the middle. It'll make good blocking. Like that one's got a lot of worm in it. And I also gauge, when I cut it, wherever I buck at it, I look at that end, because sometimes you'll get just a little bit of worm in the end down here and it doesn't really matter. But let's look. Okay, so we're going to do this one. Looking at that log, soft maple can be tricky because it'll be real bumpy sometimes. See that? But that's actually clean and clear in there. But here we go, we got the first knot. I'm not going to climb up there to look over there, but here's the first knot. So if I can get a 12, I can stand back. If I can get a 12 out of that to there, I'm going to take it. I'll pull it up on the bed at 10, see what 10 looks like, and then I'll pull it a little bit further and see what 12. If I can miss that with a 12 footer, I will get a 12 footer out of that. Because now, looking in the next log, you can see there's a defect here right above it, a defect here, and we got something here, and there's a whole bunch of something going on here. So I'll probably cut, if I can get a 12, I'll do a 12, then I'll probably do a 10, and then this next log will just be a straight blocking log, straight scrag log, okay, or blocking, because it got stuff all over it from that point out. The cherry up here, once I cut that off here, I will flip this around on the bed and come up 8 foot. And the reason I'm coming up 8 foot is because of that sweep in the log right there, and that'll be waste. Let's go back here to the yoke. A big thing with, especially with red oak in our area, and the white will do it too, is you get big root flares, big butt swells. Okay, so if you're selling logs, okay, yeah, we can look at this log. Let's say this log's gun barrel, it's real straight. Oh, I can cut a 16 out of that first. You can, but that doesn't do you justice. Okay, you'll do better if you, I hate to say it, cut 2/8, because you're losing footage in the butt swell of that tree. Usually what I do is take a 10 or 12 right off the butt. As long as it's not veneer or whatever, then that changes the whole game. But take a 10 or 12 off that butt to get out of that butt swell. And then if it's a real straight log, that's when you pick up and start taking your 16s out of it. You want to get away from that root flare, because real long logs with big root flare, I'm sure Mike McCoy can tell you, are a real pain in the butt to saw. This is the uppers of that tree. I mean, looking at this one here, I'm not going to be able to get a 10 and an 8 out of that. So I'll probably cut 2/8 out of that, and the second one's going to be bumpy, or I might get a 9 and an 8, top piece being a railroad tie log, same thing. Look at that little cherry there. Let's see, it's smaller diameter, so what do we do with that? We got a little bit of sweep, pow, knock a 10. Come up here, right where the crotch is, pow, we knock another 10 out of it. This little one here, same thing. I'll take a 10, look and see how straight this next piece. We're starting to get small on the diameter, for the diameter limit. So I'll probably cut an 8 out of the second log of that. I need to stand back a little further, I'm sorry, so you guys can see kind of what I'm doing. Let's look at that soft maple. It's clean. Let's look here in the end, see what we got. No worm, nice and clean. All right, so right there's a cat face. There was a limb there. So I'm gonna cut a 10 out of that to eliminate that cat face, and that'll be a 10-foot clean log. And then we're going to pick up and take a 12 because there's another cat face there on the same face, which will still keep that at a 3-sided clean log. We'll pick our 12 up from there up, blocking. Let's see, what do we got here? We got a cherry. This maple here, since the diameters are smaller, you want to try to keep your logs not as, you know, if you get into small, like you're getting on the borderline of what you can, your lower end diameter limits, don't go real long, because if there's any sweep in that log, it's going to really kill your footage. So I'll take a 10, I'll take another 10, and I might be able to cheat an 8 out up there because it's nice and straight. And probably the same with that one down there. You see it hide on the bottom going out there? Probably do the same thing with that one. So, but that's just what I do for selling logs, okay? And then you'll see in the scrag pile, I have a bunch of logs over there, just some of them are real crooked. Our scrag goes to a mill that cuts up, basically they run long stock too, 8s, 10s, you know, they cut everything, but they have what they call a scrag mill. You can look them up on YouTube. There's a bunch of them. Healy scrag mills are pretty cool actually, but they'll chop all the logs down to either 3-footers or 4-footers. I can't remember. I think they do both combinations, but it's usually 4-footers from what I'm told. And so if the logs, I don't know if I got a crooked one laying here somewhere. If the log is a little bit bent up, look at it and visualize, well, if I cut that 12-foot, or if I see like that one there, that's got a big bow in it. You couldn't cut a straight piece out of that. I will still chop that into a 12-footer because it's not real bad bow. And then when it gets to that mill, they chop it into 4s, and then it gets run through that scrag mill. I think it's a double saw scrag mill. I gotta see. But so you still get 4-foot sections are beautiful. They love that kind of stuff. And then if it's real bent up, I'll chop it in an 8. But I've been cutting most of my scrag 8s and 12s. I sneak a couple 10s in there. If it's straight, I'll sneak a 10 in there. I don't think they have a huge use for 10-footers. I don't try to send them a lot. I try to send 8s and 12s. So, but like I said, that will, what you cut will, what you're doing with your logs greatly contributes to how you cut them. So if you're like, say you own your own mill and you're cutting, I found a pistol shell. I don't know. So what you do is, if you're cutting them for your own mill, you have your own sawmill, obviously you're going to know what your orders are and what you should be cutting and what you want, you know, what you want and what you need. And then it's pretty self-explanatory. If you're selling them, it changes the game, man. You know, markets, obviously, if like red oak's way down, cherry's way down right now, so you got to really be picky with what you send there, you know what I mean? I go for those good number ones, prime number 1, basically anything past, so if it's a 2-sided clean log or worse, it just goes for blocking, you know what I mean? It's not worth trying to push it right now because the price is so, you see them bugs? The price is so low, it's not worth, not worth messing with. Like that oak there, you know, I'm gonna I'll probably bust a 10 off of it because it's got more sweep, or a 12 off the bottom. It's got more sweep in this top end, and then you're gonna get into this double heart situation right here, and we want to eliminate as much of that as we can. So I'll take a 12 and a 10, and it's probably gonna bring me to about right here, which ain't bad, not great, but those are just some things I do. This ain't the best timber to show. I mean, this is pretty rough stuff. It's not, there was some good in here, there's a lot of bad in here. It was just this is an old strip on the top, and I don't know what's in the back farm field. But hope that clarifies anything. Anybody has any questions, hit me in the comments. I'd be happy to help any way I can. I'm not saying that's the way you have to do it. That's just the way I do it. I just want to put that out there. So anybody that, you know, has a question, it helps. You know, everyone's going to find their own system. And don't always be worried about messing up. You know what I mean? I still cut logs and went, oh shit, I should have cut an 8 out of that, or I should have cut a 10 out of that, or should have did something that, you know, should have, could have, would have. You just got to go. And in time, you'll pick it up, and it'll just roll. So, but alrighty, I got to get going. I'm going to get cutting on some logs. I got a truck coming, and got to keep rolling. All right, everyone, take care.